What is up? Let's see here. Let's get some music going. I don't know where Brad is right now, but Chag Sameach, it's Purim. That's why I'm dressed like William Wallace. So, Chag Sameach, and welcome to the show. Welcome to Killing the Church by Alternate Media. You know what we do here. We talk about topics and issues that are killing the church or that need to be killed in the church. And today is a very special day. So not only is it Purim, but also we are doing a massive giveaway today. And everyone here that is a Patreon supporter is in that drawing. I got a hat full of everybody's names. There's 50 names in this bad boy, and we're going to be drawing them. But tonight's game, we're going to be a little bit different than normal. Instead of covering a topic, we are going to take questions from the chat. And we won't draw a name until we get a question, and then when we answer that question, then we will draw the name. We will do that 10 times for 10 questions, with the very last question being the grand prize giveaway. Those are the rules. Bobby, yes, a giveaway. All right, it looks like he's here. Hey, there he is. Where's your festivity?
I'm somebody from Colorado today.
Oh, okay, right. Yep.
No, I just dropped the ball on trying to figure out a costume for this year.
Oh man.
Last year I was John Wick. You know.
That's right. Yeah. Yep. This year I'm the full kilt and everything.
I thought about pulling out the old pirate costume, but
you
it just doesn't do it justice if I don't trim my beard with it.
Yeah, well, you can still get away with it, but still. Well, I guess I'll just I'll rock the Purim outfit all by my onesies.
Oh, actually, got something to run by you in the private chat if you.
Oh, I can't even see the private chat actually.
Oh well, that's right because we don't have any guests. There is no private chat.
Yeah, I'll just send me a text.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, so I just went over the rules of the drawings, the giveaway. We're going to answer questions from the chat, 10 of them, and we won't draw a name out of the hat until we get a question. Once we've answered the question, then we will draw the name, and we will move on from there. And I chose some different music for tonight. I don't know if you noticed. A little happier, a little electro swing, because it's party time. Q&A, so much pressure to ask a question. I answered, ask away, ask anything you want, man. Yeah. My answer is yes.
Cool.
We had our first question, but it wasn't from you guys. Hey, I didn't know this. Australia has an official tartan now. Dope. I'm wearing the Irish tartan currently. So, yeah. And so while we're waiting and getting settled, and the questions, we're looking for good, like, theological questions, something that you guys have been maybe asking about for a while. We don't mind answering questions like this, but these are simple ones. Like, yeah, we do plan on doing a video series on this at some point, but I'm not counting that one. It's got to be with some substance. We go over some topics and then we draw a hat. Oh, the first thing, here's what we're doing. The very first prize for tonight is, what about the sacrifices? Speaking of questions.
Yes. What a good question too.
What about the sacrifices? This is your first grand prize, small prize giveaway. So let's look through the chat. Are you logged in as an admin, Brad, or are you?
Yes, I am monitoring the chat.
Cool. You monitor the chat, and I'll distract the peeps. How about that?
Let's see.
Yeah, I got a couple of good ones flowing in now. What are you drinking tonight? We can't forget the ritual. We can't forget the thing.
Dude, ritual. So
I almost forgot. How dare I?
I'm trying a new one. I was a bad boy and went and bought a new bottle. But
That just means you got to get rid of it in a month.
I was gonna say, I imagine, if I'm keeping the tradition correctly, that a lot of it will be gone before the end of tonight. I am trying the Four Roses small batch. I have to say, dude, by far, this is probably my favorite bourbon that I've tried so far.
Oh, it's a bourbon. Very well.
Yes.
I've never tried it. I'm going with a tried and true Bushmills tonight because I'm feeling especially Irish today, even though I'm wearing Scottish colors. But my kilt is Irish. That's a thing. See, I'm wearing it. All Ireland tartan.
So before I break into that, though, I'm actually going to just polish off this Elijah Craig into, my root beer.
And some of you might be asking, is this a real Claymore?
Yes.
The answer is I can neither confirm or deny on the functionality of this alleged weapon.
So I think I see a pretty good one.
Let's go. What do we got?
Hold on. It was up a little farther. Hang on, I gotta find it now.
Oh, why? Is it the Happy Grenade Lo-Fi?
No, but you know who that is, right?
I do not.
I think that's a staff member.
Oh, he changed his name to Happy Grande Lo-Fi? Okay.
Happy Grenade Lo-Fi.
Granada. I don't know, man. I read so many languages, I forgot how to English.
No, this is the Jerusalem Talmud authoritative. I thought that was a good question.
Actually, that is a fantastic question.
Right?
Because it just came out. Well, it just got finished. So it's very apropos.
The translation did. Technically, the Jerusalem Talmud is the first Talmud.
And technically, it was never finished.
Yeah, that too. So
yeah. So, do you wanna kick it off, or do you want me to kick it off? I can kick it off.
So what do we do? Are we answering the question first and then doing a drawing? Is that how we're doing this?
That's exactly right. Once the question's answered, we pull out of the hat.
So this answer is obviously going to depend on your position on rabbinic authority, but my answer would be yes, because I do subscribe to rabbinic authority.
So the answer is the Jerusalem Talmud authoritative. Yes and no. So in Orthodoxy currently, the Talmud Bavli, the Babylonian Talmud, has more authority than the Jerusalem Talmud. There's a number of reasons for that. One of them being that the Jerusalem Talmud, they say, had more. It was more care was put into it, more stringency, more time was poured into it. So it's a little bit more of a careful document. It's a lot more thorough. But there is a difference between the two Talmuds. You see, the Jerusalem Talmud is actually trying to find an answer right away, whereas the Babylonian Talmud is actually more about the journey than the answer, which is interesting. So they do differ in some of the halakhic rulings as well, just a little bit. But generally speaking, the Jerusalem Talmud is not considered authoritative by and large in Orthodoxy. Although I can't... Do you remember who the rabbi that said was... when the Jerusalem Talmud starts to become more popular as the time of Mashiach is upon us? Who said that?
Oh, I don't think that was the Vilna Gaon.
I don't think it was either, but
that's
somebody...
the first name that comes to mind, but I know that that's not right. So ignore what I just said.
Somebody said that. But yeah, currently, on the 6th of March, the final volume of the Jerusalem Talmud, Talmud Yerushalmi, is finally finished, and so you can buy the whole set now on ArtScroll. It's in English, it's Schottenstein, it's elucidated, and this is a monumental task because people were saying for the longest time it was basically a closed book. Unless you could speak, read, write Hebrew and Aramaic fluently and already have a background in rabbinic literature, you couldn't read it. And now it's available, so that's a very neat accomplishment. Very excited about that. Got anything to add before we pull out of the hat?
Well, kind of a follow-up question that came in after it that falls along the same vein that I think we could answer kind of as one thing. Do you guys find the phrase Babylonian Talmud questionable, especially since it was written by those who rejected Yeshua? So whether or not they rejected Yeshua is actually kind of an irrelevant point. That contention that many Christians bring is kind of a non sequitur. It also falls into the vein of a genetic fallacy. It's essentially trying to delegitimize the source because of its history, predicated on something that's, again, irrelevant to the point. Whether or not their renderings of you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink, right? Whether or not that's a true statement is not contingent on whether or not they accept Yeshua as the Messiah. And it being called the Babylonian Talmud, it's called the Babylonian Talmud because that is where the I guess you could say Sanhedrin of sorts. That's where the assembly at Yavna was convening, where much of it was compiled.
Not quite. It's actually only called Talmud Bavli because it was written largely in exile, but it was not actually compiled in Babylonian territory. Pretty close to the area. Yavna is actually still in Israel proper, and I can't remember the name of the city where the Jerusalem Talmud starts its compilation. But both, yeah, it's just called that because it's largely written in exile. It actually has nothing to do with the city of Babylon. It has nothing to do with paganism. And largely, yeah, the reason it doesn't matter whether or not the people who wrote it believed in Yeshua, it really doesn't matter because they're just writing down the teachings of ancient sages over time and recording a lot of history in the meantime. It would be a little bit like rejecting the historical account of Alexander the Great because he wasn't a Christian. It's like, well, it doesn't really matter. He was a historian. All right, where'd he go? Where'd he go, Faith?
He's gonna entertain you with the...
Now I'm dressed up. Now I'm my dad. I'm being my dad.
Very well. Okay, so there are 50 names in this gunslinger top hat. I couldn't fit all the names neatly in a flat cap because there's so many of them, which is a good problem to have. Give him a good shake here.
About this.
This is it. Prize number 1 goes to. Let's see here. Oh, no way! It's someone we know very well. Talia Pooley. Congratulations.
Hey!
I don't know if you can see. Probably can't see. Nope, the light's too bright. You are tonight's very first winner for the book What About the Sacrifices by D. Thomas Lancaster. Check that out.
That is awesome.
Man, first winner. Now we got to ship that one all the way to Australia, I think. Anyway, congratulations. We will be in touch. We will get we will email you on Patreon and get your address and information. That goes for the rest of anybody who wins the book or the grand prize tonight. Yep. We'll be in touch. That way we can get these shipped out to you as soon as possible. But congratulations once again to Talia Foley. What About the Sacrifices is on the way to you. All right. Another question. Let's go. We got a lot of books to get through.
Let's see. I think this is going to be a good one, actually.
Ooh, this is in our video idea list that we actually.
We're going to be doing a whole video on this.
Video.
So yeah. Our brief answer may not answer the question as much as you'd like, and that's because we do intend on doing a whole video on this.
Yeah. Well, kick us off.
But yeah, the brief answer that I can give is because salvation is inherently tied to being in covenant with Hashem, right? And as Gentiles, we here at Alternate Media, our belief is that as Gentiles, our way of finding ourselves within that covenant or being brought near to that covenant, as Paul says in Ephesians 2, is through the sacrifice of Yeshua. And that his sacrifice is essentially what stands as our voucher to be in the covenant.
Yeah, so essentially, there's not actually a whole lot of change from like the Jewish model, and that's where a lot of people get confused. We're so used to talking about the Christian model of the way that salvation works, but yeah, the idea is, the Messiah was never promised to the Gentiles. It's particularly a Jewish promise. And this is the concept that we've talked about, I think, in the past once, but there's a concept called the merit of the fathers. And it's this idea in Judaism that no Jew can ever save himself because he's not worthy. The only people who were worthy were the people who earned it for them, and that would be Abraham, Isaac, Yaakov. And it's because God made a promise with those fathers that they, being Israel proper, being born into the covenant, they only achieve this place in the world to come because Abraham earned it for them. We take that same concept and we say the same thing for Yeshua. Yeshua bought our adoption so that we are adopted into the family of Israel. Without a full conversion process, we receive a place in the world to come, and he earned that for us and bought our place in the world to come. And that's kind of how, that's a really short version of that. But there is a full video on that subject in the works, and it is coming your way. And what is his role in a Jew or Gentile's life? We kind of covered that for the most part. Yeshua's role has a bigger impact for the Jews as been David.
Right.
Doesn't really have a whole lot of impact, if any, at least immediately, for as being Ben Yosef, as being son of Joseph. It's more about getting us in, right? And then when Yeshua comes back, then it has a big impact for everybody as Ben David.
Right.
So I think that's a good, what do you feel about that answer?
Yeah, well, just to, I think, add on to that a little bit, because this is missed by a lot, is that the benefit of Joseph was to Egypt, not to his brothers, right? His brothers were going to be fine regardless of whether or not they went to Egypt, and that's something that's missed by a lot. But Egypt would have been absolutely doomed without Joseph's presence.
That's very true.
Yep. So yeah, go ahead and draw us our next one there.
All right. We have another name. What do we got?
Hold on, before you read it, what's the prize?
Oh, I'm glad you said something. This is all 4 volumes of It Is Often Said by Tim Hegg.
Yes.
Still wrapped up, pristine condition. So they're not even open yet. And that is what is up for grabs tonight. If you're wondering what these volumes look like.
It's a combat field manual right there.
There we go. These are what you are about to win. A 4-volume set. They look like pamphlets. They're about 60 pages each. Super good resource. One of my favorite go-tos. Like all of my first TikTok videos are basically based off of some of these questions that are written in these books.
Amazing.
Just as an example, just as a taste to those of you who have never heard of this book set. It is often said, Yeshua broke the Sabbath, the Torah is a burden, and the law is fulfilled. And this is a book about all 3 of those topics and why those are incorrect things to say. Really, really good set of books. Can't wait. All right, so I got a name. Let me put these back. All right. I can say that whoever it is, they are a scholar tier. I did want to say that we want to announce what tier they're at, because anyone at any tier could win anything here.
That's awesome.
So this one has been a scholar, and his name is, oh my goodness, of course it is. There are very few names I can't pronounce. This is one of them. This is actually probably the only one. Okay, this will be like my 4th or 5th try on the show trying to do this. Joshua Vecchiarelli. Joshua Vecchiarelli. I don't even know what I'm doing. I sound like an idiot.
Vecchiarelli.
I haven't seen him in the chat today.
I think he's in there. He's in there.
Yeah, he's definitely in there. I see him.
Either way, congrats, Joshua.
Congrats.
JD. Congratulations, you've won yourself a free set of It Is Often Said, a valuable resource.
Absolutely.
That's actually really cool. So thank you once again to all of our Patreons, by the way, for your support. Your support makes this all possible. Joshua Vecchiarelli. I swear, man, that's a...
What a name. It's got so much like spice to it, though.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta say it with the hand, right? You gotta, Vecchiarelli.
See, that's why you were saying it wrong. You weren't doing the hand.
He's got to do the hand. If I've learned anything from my Italian wife,
right?
This is the Italian dialect right here.
Speaking of, because it's a holiday, I forgot to introduce her. But everybody, this is my beloved, and she is joining us tonight because it is a holiday, and we are going to be celebrating together, regardless of whether or not I'm on a live.
Absolutely.
So,
glad to have her here, and she's more than welcome, I think, to join on any other random night too.
Absolutely.
Because we're chill here.
This is matter of fact
pretty informal.
She has been called once by someone Miss Alternate Media.
Nice.
So that may be a feature soon coming. We'll see. But our next question, I think this is a really good one, actually.
Okay, what do we got?
Is it accurate to say the Nazarenes mentioned in Acts were the way also spoken of in Acts, aka the first Christians? So, I would say yes, they are the same body. But I don't know that I would agree with the characterization of being the first Christians.
I like that you put it in quotes, though, because
right,
yeah.
So what you're asking is, the answer is yes. The trouble is that the word Christian means something different, and this body of believers back then would not have called themselves Christians if they understood what the word Christian means today, and they would have been considered heretics by modern Christians.
Yeah, the Nazarenes, the sect of the way, which we can say, quote unquote, by the strictest definition of the word Christian, as in they were of the sect of the followers of Christos, right? The Christianoi. Yeah. So, but make no mistake. Yeah, they're the first Christians, but make no mistake here. They were Torah keeping Jews. And that's why they were called a sect of Judaism known as the Way, the Nazarenes. They get their name, the Notzri, because it's very often that the hometown of their, it's a very common tradition that the hometown of your master, the founder of your particular sect, that's what you name your sect after, like the Lubavitch. The Lubavitchers,
or the Breslover, or the Yemenite, or... Yeah.
So the Lubavitch follow the Alter Rebbe, but the Alter Rebbe was from Lubavitch, which is an Arab province of Russia at the time, and so that's just you usually name it after a city. So the Notzrim, which is what we would be, the Nazarenes, is just a kind of transliterated way of saying it in English. But yeah, it's accurate to say that the Notzri are the sect of the way, the original followers after the resurrection.
I would make this distinction, though. The Nazarenes referenced in Acts are likely not the same as the Nazarenes that are later referenced by the patristic fathers.
I was going to say, yeah, they're something to note real quick, church history, before we draw the next name, which, by the way, the next gift is a TLV translation of the Bible. It's even, you can see the markings. Super good. Anyway, church history for you. The community in Rome would eventually become the Christianity, right? The Catholic Christianity that we know today. And that's all based off of the community in Rome. Rome, at the time, in its early stages, was considered heretics by everybody else because their beliefs were slightly different. And then their particular sect happened to have an army behind them, the Holy Roman Empire. And so even though they were the minority and they were considered a heresy very early on, they become the majority, and eventually they get to define what Christianity becomes later on. A lot of dirty politics in early church history. That's one of those little things. I just wanted to mention that. Anyway, that's a question answered. So we've got a beautiful leatherette, thin line, annotated TLV, and it's not even called the Bible. It is just the Scriptures TLV. And I really like this translation.
If I'm not mistaken, it doesn't have a New Testament, Old Testament dividing page.
That is correct. It does not.
I love that about it.
It does not make that distinction, and I love that.
You got the dark green one too. The dark green one is so beautiful. I love it.
I have one of the first ever TLVs to ever come out. They don't even make this. They don't even make this cover anymore.
So yeah, that is. You can still get it, but they don't make it anymore, and
they don't print them.
It's super expensive.
All right. So, for the Bible. Is that more than one? I can't tell. There we go. I think I got something. All right. This next one is a student. Who is it this time? Oh, I wonder if she's watching. This one's lucky. This person put their name in like 5 minutes before the stream started. And I was not 5, it's like 30 minutes. And I was still cutting up the names. And I saw that there was a Patreon just got added. And I was like, crap. So I printed another page and cut out that name just so I could have it. So she would get her fair shake because she did become a Patreon before the video. And that is her name. Liz, you are our winner for the TLV Bible. And you didn't put your last name on your thing, but you do have a Gmail account here, I can see. And congratulations for becoming a Patreon today. An hour ago. And
absolutely
won something in our drawing. Mazel tov.
Yeah.
TLV onlyists.
Yeah, I thought that was great.
That's funny. All right. Cool. What do we have? Another question. What's next?
Let's see.
You guys are congratsing everybody, but drop some more questions in the chat, boys.
Right. Okay, this is a pretty good one, actually. This is one that's common in Christianity.
Oh. Test and tempt.
What is the difference between test and tempt, and why does God do one and not the other? So, a test, and I would say just going off of what we understand in English, the difference between a test and a temptation should be obvious. For instance, a test you typically think of in the scope of intellectual prowess or something like that. You know, you're testing your abilities for something proactive. Whereas a temptation is something you have to resist. It's more of a reactive way of not doing something else, right? So one's proactive, one's reactive. But I would say the reason that I don't know that I can say that God doesn't tempt necessarily, because that's what Hasatan functions as. He's the means of temptation through which that functions. Now, I will say also, a lot of temptation, I think most temptation actually doesn't come necessarily directly from Hasatan himself. I think our understanding would be that comes generally from within. That's just the battle against the Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination, right? Our own animal nature is what we battle against. And so God doesn't have to do that. We're doing it just fine ourselves.
I think that's pretty good. I think a test would be something that would put your willingness to do positive commandments to the fire, and a temptation is your resistance against a negative commandment.
A good example of a test is this. Daniel, Right, Daniel, when it was forbidden in the kingdom to pray to any other deity except the king at this point, right? He was being tested as to his willingness to continue in the daily prayers, which, interestingly enough, this was a test of his willingness to continue in the daily prayers, right? This is a Talmudic tradition. It's not something that's specified in the Torah itself, which is interesting that it goes back as far as Daniel, because we can track the daily prayers at least as far back as Daniel, which means that they likely go back much farther than that. By Daniel's time, this is already an established tradition. So anyway, Daniel is being tested as to whether or not he will continue in his observance of the daily prayers. Whereas a temptation is like with Cain and the temptation to lash out against his brother. This is why Hashem says to him, that sin is at the door, but you can rule over it. Right? Because this is an internal temptation that he's having. This isn't even Satan approaching him or anything. This is his own hatred of his brother that he's dealing with.
It's purely internal. James says that God does not tempt anybody, but each one is tempted by his own desires. And that's to say that's something that you struggle with for yourself. That's right. Free will. So, what are we winning this time, huh? A personal favorite. Actually, all of these are my personal favorite. What am I talking about? That's a question answered, right? We just
we answered a question.
Okay, so Every Man's Talmud. Speaking of Talmudic literature and tradition, this is not a very thick book. I think it's about 400 pages. And it is very neatly organized. The Talmud itself is not very neatly organized. It's kind of all over the place because it's a conversation. So like we tend to rabbit hole. So does the Talmud. This guy, Avraham Cohen, he compiled all of the Talmudic literature stuff and he made it sorted by topic. So now you can just go, instead of trying to scour 73 volumes to get everything you need on a particular topic, you can just open up this. And I'm going to open up an example. The doctrine of, let's go to the doctrine of man, the soul. There's also free will, the two impulses, faith and prayer, sin, repentance and atonement, reward and punishment. It's all topographic, and it covers just about everything. And it shows you exactly where to find it, and it gives you the shortest possible synopsis of the content, and then if you need to, you can go and look it up, the rest of it yourself. Really, really good book. Totally love this book. That's what's up for the grabs tonight, right now, in this next drawing. We get a little shuffle going here, making it rain, I'm assaulting my hat with names. All right. Oh, one's hopping out. All right, let's go. What do we got? I'm gonna pull it from the bottom. Shake her loose. What do we got? This one is a Talmidim. Are you ready? You know what? Hold on. Who said, okay, love that book. So, all right, so somebody already has it. The winner of Every Man's Talmud, the Talmidim, goes to Misty Kogil? Misty. Congratulations, Misty, you win.
Congrats.
Yeah. I don't want to say
that is such a good book too. So it's interesting. I actually have a I came by a copy of that for free, and it's because it's a book that I'm familiar with, and I have had access to it for many years since my dad's had it. I have a secular Jewish friend who expressed an interest to familiarize himself with his people's culture and religion and beliefs and whatnot. And it just happened that I had this in my car when we were having this conversation. So it was like, here, have this book. This is a great place to start for you to familiarize yourself with your people's history.
Huh. Interesting. Nice. All right. It's question time.
Yep, I saw a good one up here earlier.
There's a couple floating around. Let's see. What is the
This
Jewish
is-
concept? We kind of just went over that one. Oh, it's
This is a good one.
It's a good one.
So, the answer is yes, because these are actually still classified differently, even by kosher law. And this is something that I learned recently, speaking to one of my dear friends who is studying to be a rabbi. And as we discussed this, because as it turned out, he was studying at that time kosher law, right? And so we got into the whole issue of meat and dairy, right? So naturally, any dairy that comes from an unkosher animal cannot be mixed with anything and be edible because it comes from an unkosher animal, right? It's inadmissible. But like so the dairy of any grazing animal, you know, the dairy of any grazing animal that is we'll say domesticated, right? A farm animal, a lamb, a goat, a cow, what have you, right? You can't mix that with the meat of any other kind of animal in kosher law, or any other kind of, you know, the same kind of animal, right? That is considered a violation of Torah law. Whereas what, at least to my understanding, what was explained is that if it is something like venison, right, something that is hunted, something that is wild, it's considered a wild beast, even though it's still kosher. It's still considered a wild beast because it's not a domesticated animal that grazes that way. That it's not a violation of Torah law to mingle the meat and dairy, but it is still a violation of rabbinic mandate. The way it was described is like, okay, so it's not a violation of Torah, but it's still something we just don't do.
Right. Yeah.
And that's because there is a distinction between deer and cow, lamb, goat. They're different. One is a beast of the field. The other is technically still a wild animal, even though it's kosher.
Yep. Yeah, it's an interesting because, you know, you think about it, all the kosher slaughters can only be really done on animals that you would offer on a temple, and a deer is not one of them.
Exactly. It's kind of another one of those where it's like, well, how do you kosher slaughter a fish?
Let's see here. Yeah, how do you kosher? Okay. Yep. So she already had it. So she volunteered to draw another name. I put her name back in the hat, so she still has a chance to win something. It'd be funny if we drew her name twice. But we're gonna draw another name for the Everyman's Talmud and see who.
Go for it.
Oh, we got stuff just hopping out of the hat. Hold on. A name fell out, so I'm gonna go with
this. This was by design. I don't believe in coincidence.
This one is a student, the dollar level. Oh wow. Okay. The winner is Revelation chapter 21.
Hey, yes.
So there's no name, but you know who you are. and we
they definitely know. They for a long time, very early on, they were one of our biggest promoters. Because they want us to grow to a point where maybe they can even work for us.
Oh, that's him. Okay, I know he's on TikTok all the time.
Yes.
Well, Mr. Revelation chapter 21, congratulations. You have just got yourself an Everyman's Talmud, which is, I mean, if I could tell you how many times I've read this book in a year, I would need both hands to count it. I read this book constantly. It's so good. Okay. Well, we had a twofer.
Yeah, that was a twofer. So I say we go twofer with the questions on this one. Let's see. This is a good one. Why do so many Christians get so offended by those who do not believe in Messiah, especially the Jews? If they do not accept Messiah, anything they say becomes invalid. Why is this?
Oh, I wish I honestly knew the answer to that.
Yeah, my initial answer is that it's an easy cop-out. Right?
It's interesting. I mean, I could see why you would think that way. That you would think, well, he's not a believer, so what does he know about the Messiah? I would say equally, all you got to really do is just turn it back around. Well, this guy is a believer in the Messiah, and he's totally wrong. So your belief in Yeshua is sort of neither here nor there. You can be incredibly wrong and still believe in him, and incredibly right and not believe in him. And both things can be true.
Faith has an answer to this one too.
Oh, go for it. Let's go.
I was going to say my first thought was just that sometimes it's very basic in their mind, like everything is about salvation, and so that's their first go-to, because they don't think that they're saved if they don't believe in Yeshua. So that's like they're very big, that's just like the first thing that they think of. It's like, are they saved? How are they saved? And they don't understand what it means that he's the Word made flesh, and what he is to us, and what he is to the Jews.
It's a good point, and this is why, right? How many times on TikTok have you been asked? I know I've been asked it a bunch, right? An innumerable amount of times. Is how you would define the gospel, or where in your content you share the gospel, right? It's like if you're explaining the Bible in any other way that isn't trying to get atheists to become Christians, then you're not doing theology right? Everything has to be centered around bringing people to the altar in Christianity, and I know I get that a lot. So, how do you get that as much as I do?
I've gotten it a couple of, so I have half the followers you have, so I get half the comments, but I've gotten it a couple of times where somebody's like, why don't you focus more on preaching the gospel to the lost? And my answer to that, just real quick, because that is a question, why don't you preach the gospel to the lost? It's very possible to be a Christian and be lost. And I know not only is that, a possibility, but that's actually not my primary target. My primary target is for the person who is the intellectual and has never been given the answers from Christianity. So I tend to explain certain things that were questions that I had before I was ever a Christian. So like you read the Old Testament, you're like, this is a lot of scary stuff. How could we possibly believe in a God like this? It's answering questions like that turn people who would otherwise be skeptics and are very turned off by the Christian simpletism. We try to reach out to them and be like, hey, there's a lot of history here. These things do make sense. There's explanations for these things, and not a lot of people have these answers, and I'm doing my best to give it to you. And you win a person to the kingdom doing that. And that's my target. Everyone's target is different.
Right. My answer to it typically falls along these lines. Is like, look, one of the larger problems in Christianity, and even Christian pastors are noticing this, is that it's entirely too preoccupied with bringing new babies into the fold and feeding babies milk. And so there's no meat in the church to be eaten by the older believers, right? So everybody has their field of ministry. And you know what? I'm not that's not to say that I'm opposed to sharing the gospel with somebody who's lost. If God sends one of them my way and opens up the conversation, I'll be more than happy to do that. But the field of ministry that I'm called to is to feed meat to those who are beyond eating milk.
Yeah.
And
so you and I used to go to the what was it, the Jesus people that were just spewing hate on the streets. And all we would do is we would engage in conversation with these basically Westboro Baptist types.
Yes.
And it's not because we're trying to convert the Westboro Baptist types. They're sort of beyond argumentation. But there several times me and Brad would be out there and people are listening to our answers. And they're like, oh, wow, that's actually really good. And then they'd come to us and they're like, hey, tell me more, because that was impressive. And then before you know it, you an otherwise bystander who was an atheist before is now suddenly at least curious.
one of my favorite pictures from one of those events, actually, which was at a local festival that happens annually here in town. One of my favorite pictures, though, is I'm holding my my HCSB Bible that you got me like years ago, and I'm face to face with this dude that has like tried to publicly shame me before in his spiel. and like I'm there and I'm just pointing the book at him, right? Like in the middle of conversation.
I remember that. That's a good picture.
I'm like, dude, yes, that's me, like in a nutshell.
So,
Okay.
little backstory. I mean, before they started Alternate Media, they actually did something similar like a very long time ago. And I remember watching them. This was before me and Bradley were like actually dating. They would get up in their living room and talk
The We Don't Care show.
And
Old.
they had these videos, and I just remember watching that and watching the video of you talking to the Westboro Baptist type people.
Oh, we did go live on that. Yeah.
Dude, yes, we did. We did a Facebook Live of that. I remember it's the first time ever that they have voluntarily packed up and left.
Yep.
And I genuinely think it's because after 2 or 3 of them tried to actually engage us and had no answers for us, it was like, all right, well, it's a losing battle. We better just leave.
Yeah. So that was a question answered, right?
Such a victory to me, dude.
I've always wanted to witness that in person, but I have never gotten the chance to. They don't show up whenever we.
Yeah, they purposely they purposely only go out on Shabbat now when they know that I won't be at the festival.
Yeah, because you won't be there. They figured it out. Okay, so we didn't get to answer the question. Why do they think that way? Because honestly, I wish we really knew, but we got some better context, I think. So that's a question answered. Now it's time for the bullet hat. What do we got? Who is the next winner? I got a name here. It is. We didn't even announce the book. We didn't even announce the book.
Oh.
Yo, Seamus.
What? You gonna raffle the sword? No. Absolutely not. Hey, so this particular person.
Hey, we're raffling swords of an intellectual sword.
It's a different kind of sword.
Yes, we are raffling
And
swords.
combat manuals of an intellectual. Remember, Paul said the weapons of our warfare are not carnal.
Look at you go. Okay, this person is destined to win a book from us. I swear. So, the next book on the list is The Letter Writer.
Yo.
And the winner is Misty.
Yes!
Misty, do you have this one? I hope the answer to that one is no, because you're supposed to win something tonight, I guess.
You gotta win something.
This is twice now, so it's divine intervention is what this is.
Yay.
Way metal is this like woohoo. Misty, let's go.
She doesn't have that one.
Let's go. All right. Yeah, you are getting Tim Heggs, The Letter Writer.
Such a good book.
Oh my goodness. An invaluable resource.
Raffle away metal in this economy?
I can't believe that was really meant to happen. Wow. I feel like I shook it up and shuffled it pretty good too.
Yup.
Nice.
Oh,
I told you, man, I don't believe in coincidence.
I don't either. I have picked this question.
Yes, that was going to be my next one, so.
Yeah. All right, cool. So,
we still have the thing.
We still got it, man. Not thousands of miles apart, we still got it. All right. What is the gospel? Okay. To a Christian, death, burial, and resurrection. Got it.
Yep.
But here's the thing. And if you'll read this. It's in Mark and it's in Matthew. And it says, it's one of the very first things that Jesus ever did. He gets his baptism, and it says in Mark, and he went out and he began preaching the gospel. Okay. So what in the heck is the gospel if the death, burial, and resurrection hasn't even happened yet? Jesus is teaching something, and it's not that. It's not that. Nobody really quite gets this until after it happens. So, what is the gospel? It's a great question. The Besora.
This is one of those things where I can't believe I've never thought to like phrase it this way before until just now, but you know, maybe it's meant to happen this way. We understand that the prophets preached the gospel,
Yep.
right? When did the prophets ever place this much emphasis on one day there's going to be a guy. It's going to be God in the flesh. He's going to come down and he's going to die for the sins of mankind, and then he'll resurrect, and that's the gospel. The main point of what the prophets preached was repentance, teshuvah, turn back to the Torah.
Yeah, for the kingdom is at hand. And actually, and you continue reading in Mark, as I suggested. It says, and Jesus went out preaching the gospel. Repent, for the kingdom is at hand. Those are the words. That is the gospel. That's it. It's even simpler than the death, burial, and resurrection. That's sort of a means, right? That's how you kind of come into the covenant. But what is the Besorah? What is Besorah according to Isaiah chapter 66 or 61? Excuse me. Repent, for the kingdom of God is at hand. That's the God. It's that simple. It's even simpler than the death, burial, and resurrection. The Besorah. And there's actually a great book I'm currently working through it. I'm about 20% of the way through the book, called Besorah. I can't remember who wrote it. I have it on my Kindle, but it's the same guy who wrote Jerusalem Crucified. These are not FFOZ books. I have not finished these books, so I have not been able to recommend them yet. But anyway, it's in the works. It's good stuff. That is a question answered, I say.
Absolutely.
Speaking of what is the gospel, Restoration by D. Thomas Lancaster, one of my number one go-to recommendations. I give these books out all the time. I have 4 copies down here. One of them is being given away.
I still need to. I need to order more. I just loaned out my last copy to a mutual friend of ours who has found his way back to the faith.
I know who you're talking about, and I just spoke with him not too long ago. Oh, by the way, surprise, Bradley, I'm coming down Friday. I'll see you there.
Dude, yes!
Yeah! I'm just having a good time.
What's happening Friday?
All right. Let's do a little shuffle shuff. Little shuffle shuff. All right. Look, no eyes. I got one name. It is a Talmud. Interesting. This Talmud, if you have this book, I think he's actually in the chat. Congratulations, DBZ Biscuit.
Yes!
You just won yourself Restoration by D. Thomas Lancaster. DBZ Biscuit, if you have this book, let us know if you want us to draw again, or if you still want us to send this to you, and you can give it out away yourself, which is something that we do all the time. If you haven't read this book, then do both. Take it, read it, give it out.
So and that is an option, and we do want to make that known to everybody who's here, right? Is that there's no wrong way to do this, right? This is Purim. This is about charity. If you want to throw your winning back into the drawing because you already have it, that is charity. If you want to claim it so you can personally give it to somebody else, that's still charity, right? So we're still in the spirit of the holiday.
Pay it forward. Never pay it back. Pay it forward.
Absolutely.
Here it is. Looks like he's accepting the book. So congratulations, DBZ Biscuit. You are now the proud owner of Restoration. Who else is having a good time? We're only an hour in, and we still got 4 more giveaways. Yes.
FOMO.
4 more
before
questions.
The big prize.
Let's go. Oh, excuse me.
Let's see.
What do we got?
You guys got to ask some questions, man. I know it's so hard to think of stuff when there's actually pressure.
At the very beginning, there was like a bunch of questions.
There really were, though, actually. Yeah, at the beginning, there were a ton of questions. There's one up here earlier that I saw that I think is worth visiting. Let's see. I'm looking for it, and I'm going to find it.
We can't draw another name until we get some questions in the chat, peeps. Let's go.
Know, right?
Homies. What's happening? For those of you wanting a sticker, if you are at, I believe, the intellectual level or higher, after 3 payments, you get one free sticker for the intellectual, and then there's, I think, 3 free stickers for the scholar and the Talmud level. So after your first 3 payments, you will receive a custom sticker of some of our logos. All right, some of our logos, and we also have one I made. It just says Haderech in Hebrew.
I love that one.
And it means the way in Hebrew. It's a sticker, blue letterings, ancient Hebrew, on a black background. And those are, let's see here. That was not supposed to fall.
Here's one. It says, why was Daniel rewarded, I think is what was meant. Why was Daniel rewarded for praying publicly, whereas Yeshua said to do so privately? Now, I don't know that Daniel was rewarded for praying publicly necessarily. His prayers were done on in the upper room of his home, or on the roof of his home, where he was least likely to be seen.
Yeah.
And so even though he was still praying, he was still trying his best not to be seen praying. Now, he was still found out, and I would say that he was rewarded because this was very particularly a time period in which he was being persecuted, right? So that makes the difference. Is the Yeshua was speaking in a reference of Israel when Israel was still religiously autonomous, right? They were free to practice their religion publicly. And so what he points out about the prayers of this particular Pharisee in question that he's speaking about is that they are intended to draw attention to oneself, which violates the Jewish concept of modesty. Even if you visit a synagogue today for like morning prayers and whatnot, what you'll find is that they're almost whispered, or even barely whispered.
Oh no, it's totally quiet. For the Amidah, for the silent prayer, it's crazy. So the Chazan will sing a lot of it, right? So the Chazan will do a lot of the prayers, and you respond with Amen. And then as soon as the Amidah comes up, which is usually after a couple of Psalms, it goes dead quiet. And you're only allowed to speak loud enough that only you can hear yourself. But you shouldn't be louder than that in case the person next to you can hear you, and it would distract him. So the room goes dead silent, and it stays that way for like 10 minutes. And then the Chazan will pick up, and he will say the Amidah out loud, and you respond Amen at the end of each blessing. That's sort of how the prayer services will go. But yeah, it's very quiet, everyone just keeps to themselves. You hide yourself inside your talit, right? You wrap your head up in it. You put your face in the book. You don't look around, and it's just you and God in that moment, and the whole room is quiet.
Yep. Now, Daniel was found praying, and this is because the king's men were spying on him. And, are you keeping the tradition with me tonight?
Yeah.
No, but I mean like the Purim tradition.
Dog, it would be un-Irish of me if I didn't.
I know, right? Just curious. But yeah, so I would say there's an extreme difference there just in location. So Daniel is in exile, first of all. Right? He's in enemy territory where praying would have been detrimental to him. So this is a credit to him that he desired to honor Hashem and serve Hashem more than he loved his own life.
Yeah.
Whereas the example that Yeshua is pointing out in this particular Pharisee who is praying so boastfully publicly is specifically to serve one's own life.
Yeah, there's no consequence for him doing
oneself.
Yeah. Just a quick example. The Maccabees, right, in the book of Maccabees before the revolt happens, what was it? They were forcing that Jews basically, you only had pork to eat. Now, in any normal situation, if the only thing you have to survive is pork, it is permissible to eat it in order to live. Pikuach nefesh. You can violate any commandment in order to save one's own life. However, they were being put in a situation where they were meant to violate it on principle. Yes, it would have been to save their life, but they were being put in a position on purpose to violate the commandment in principle, and so they refused to do so. So many Jews actually did starve themselves on purpose because they were only being presented with pork, and they are rewarded for that piety because in any other situation, it would have been idolatry or not. And so it's kind of, yeah.
There's two examples that stand out in this aspect, and this is just because they're two examples in Jewish history that are gut-wrenching. And that is the case of Hannah in the example of the Maccabees and the period of Antiochus, whose 7 sons were all killed every time that she refused to eat the unkosher meat that was set in front of her. Another one of her sons would be brought in and killed in front of her. And then also the Jews in the concentration camps, especially at Auschwitz, who on Yom Kippur specifically, right? Naturally, in these concentration camps, they were not being fed to any humane standard at all. And then on Yom Kippur, they would have a grand feast prepared for them on the one day that they're forbidden from eating.
Yeah, so you would refuse to eat based on principle. So yes. We're a little over time. I think we should get some more questions in the chat. I'm going to go ahead and draw.
I got our next one.
Our next book that we are giving away is From Sabbath to Sabbath, another D. Thomas Lancaster classic.
Fantastic.
Very good one. My wife actually bought this one on a whim. I wasn't even interested in it, and she bought it, and I was like, She said it was good, so then I read it, and I was like, oh, actually, it really is. So, From Sabbath to Sabbath. If you ever wondered what it is to celebrate the Sabbath in a Jewish manner, what do we got? Oh, I got a couple of names here. Let's drop one. Okay. This is a student. It's been with us about 9 months, it appears.
9 months.
Zach and Lindsay Huffman. Congratulations to Zach and Lindsay.
Awesome.
You have won From Sabbath to Sabbath by D. Thomas Lancaster, brought to you by First Fruits of Zion. And I don't think that they're in the chat, but we will email them. Their emails are included in the paper, so they will be notified. And if they have this book already, then I don't know, we'll figure something else out.
So
congratulations to the Huffmans. Is that right? Did I say that right? There you
Huffman.
Yep. Congratulations to the Huffmans. Okay. The next book on the list is a Siddur. So what's our question for the Siddur?
So Grafted Acres asked this one, and this I think is a very good one, because this is an area where especially I think men struggle with this more, because we are less given to spiritualism, and that's something even Judaism acknowledges. Actually, one of the more Kabbalistic concepts is the understanding that a man can only truly experience the Shekhinah, the feminine attribute of God, through unification with his wife. I learned that from the book on Kabbalah that you bought me for my birthday, like all those years ago. I still haven't finished it, by the way, but I did read that much.
It's a dense book.
Very. But yeah, so it's one of those things. It's an understanding that women do have a much more spiritual connection. They're much more spiritually sensitive than men. And men tend to struggle with this idea of, okay, is God speaking to me or is he not? I would say, man, don't worry about that, because the reality is when God speaks to you, it's going to be in a way that's probably different from what you're imagining.
And this is Grafted Acres, so she's also a female, and because I know you. Hi.
Yep.
Yeah. So I've actually always put it this way: when you are a child, your father holds your hand when you cross the street. As you get older, he stops doing that. So you might feel less of his presence in a more tangible sense. It doesn't mean he's not there. It just means you were feeling it in a less tangible sense. And when you're still young in your growing in your belief, in your faith walk, you will feel that presence very strongly at first because you need that. But as you continue to grow, you are able to flourish and fly on your own. And so
I would add to that, as a man in particular, because she specifies that this is from her husband, and I feel like I can sympathize with the question and where it comes from. As a man in particular, you are the leader of your home, so there is a level of independence that you are supposed to have as a leader. There's a level of autonomy as far as decision making you're supposed to have, but I don't think that's an exclusion to God's leadership. I think that the struggle for us is to learn how to discern the voice of God when we see it or when we do experience it. Because I think for us, a lot of times it's much more subtle than we are willing to admit.
I just had a thought.
Go for it.
The prophet. I think it's Ezekiel. God wasn't in the fire, wasn't in the whirlwind.
My wife just said this under her breath.
The still small voice.
The
God is
still
infinite.
small voice.
At first, it's big so that you can notice it. But then, because he's infinite and there's no real size to him, you have to listen a little bit more closely.
Yes, absolutely.
And you will find God in the small things. There's a Jewish tradition. Anytime anything happens, good or bad, you always bless God. That way you get in the habit of blessing God. And so when something tremendously terrible happens, you still bless God. And it becomes habitual, and you begin to see God in the little things in your life every day, where like suddenly all the bad things are actually good things, because you've trained yourself to see these.
I love this question because the answer now actually falls in line with the theme of the day, right? One of the fundamental themes of this day is again comes directly from Scripture, in that it's the glory of God to conceal a matter, and the honor of what? The honor of who? The honor of kings to seek it out. And as a husband, as a father, that's the role that you fulfill for your home, is that you're the king of the castle, dude. You've got to seek it out. Right? Mm-hmm. That's the honor that you receive, is to seek out that which God has concealed.
All right. So this is the Art Scroll Masorah Publications expanded Wasserman edition of the Siddur. It has everything you'll ever need. It's a complete Siddur. Shabbat, weekdays, festivals, even the Haftarah readings are in the back, and the Pirkei Avot is somewhere in the middle. This is a great Siddur to have. I happen to have one also. I use this exact copy every once in a while in the synagogue. So it's a good resource to have. It's even got the 13 Principles of Faith in it by Maimonides. All right. So who gets the Siddur, huh? Who gets the... Oh, we had a name fall out.
Again, I don't believe in coincidence, and that's part of listening to God speak too, man. Like, I really don't believe in coincidence. Hashem works everything out the way he wants to.
It's a scholar. All right, Mr. Lake Lewis. Lewis, congratulations. You have won yourself the Art Scroll Wasserman Complete Siddur. I'm not sure if he's in the chat. Doesn't matter. He will be getting this book. This is a beautiful book, as somebody in the chat has already said. And it's Hebrew. Man, that light is so bright. It's Hebrew on one page, English on the other. So if you're still learning Hebrew and you'd like to learn to pray in Hebrew, this is a great way to do that. Love this book. Congratulations. It is on the way. All right. This is the last giveaway before we do the grand prize. 1, 2,
all right.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep, this is the last prize before the giveaway. So this is the second largest part of the giveaway that we have. This is the complete Art Scroll Stone Edition Chumash. And it is an invaluable resource. It's just the first 5 books of the Torah, and you can already see how much valuable commentary is just from the Torah in this one book. So do we got a good question for this one?
So the question that we've got here, that's the most recent one that was posted.
Yeah.
And This is something that I've seen recently, and I will say that I haven't seen it until recently. Now, I have been, I've been in this walk for a while, and I've been on multiple paths of this walk in my journey, and I've been on the side that condemns Kabbalah as, you know, ancient witchcraft and Saturn worship and whatnot. Like I've been there. I've been that guy. This is actually still very new to me. I didn't see this until very recently. Now I will tell you that because of my previous fascinations, outside of Torah, and Seamus can vouch for this, outside of Torah and Torah apologetics, church history, and you know, biblical theology, occult history is probably my second area of expertise. And what I can say is that, again, this is very new to me. In all of my studies of occult history and witchcraft history and whatnot, I can even show you at the bottom of my bookshelf, I have actual legitimate spell tomes and books on legitimate witchcraft and stuff like that, because I did for a time actually look into the history and the function of it, never for practice reasons, but always for educational purposes. It's the idea of knowing your enemy is always what was at the forefront of my mind. But I have found no evidence of this. Now, that's not to say that there isn't any evidence, but I have put almost as exhaustive of efforts into studying occult history as I have of Torah history, and I have not found any evidence of this.
And also, I won't say who, but someone who's been in this for a while doesn't think either one of those cards is cute.
Who?
No one.
You're good. Yeah, I would concur. We actually see it largely as a decorative mosaic. The first times we ever see the star, it's actually a decorative mosaic in synagogues and actually churches as well. It really had no real meaning. It was just sort of a geometric shape for a long time. It doesn't really get its Zionistic Jewish meaning until the Middle Ages. In fact, The first time we see it being used on religious documents ever is the Leningrad Codex of the Masoretic text, which is the only Masoretic text that is fully complete. The Aleppo Codex is about only 60 or 70% complete because we've lost some of it to history. You know, documents deteriorate. But the Leningrad Codex has the Star of David, or the Shield of David, the Magen David, the Shield of David, on the Leningrad Codex, which is a Masoretic tradition. So that's actually the first time we see it. So is it pagan? I don't know. Maybe not explicitly.
Well, this is one thing that I will actually specify here. This is one of those small specificities that makes a difference in occult history. Whether or not it is drawn in a triangle laying over a triangle fashion, or an interwoven fashion like you would see typical of like a Celtic knot, that makes a difference. They're not the same.
Colored maps.
That is so awesome.
And for those of you that know, the Haftarah readings are also in the back. So a majority of the prophets are actually included in here too for the Haftarah readings. Anyway, that's that question answered, yeah?
Yeah.
So it's time to
I think
give
our
away.
last gift was passed on, though, in a pay-it-forward kind of fashion.
What happened?
Right? Spirit Wars, I think, was the winner of the Siddur, right?
I asked the question to see if that was true. Hold on.
Yeah, and he said, pass it on, man.
Oh, that was you. Okay. So you are Lake Lewis. Okay. Are you? I'll put your name back in the hat, but I guess yes, you said pass it on. So let me see here. Pass it on, alternate media. Yeah, actually got it. Yeah, he did. He even changed his name to All right, cool. We get a twofer this time. I'll put your name back in the hat after we draw We will redraw the Siddur right now. Do a little shuffle shuff. Let's see what name falls out of the hat this time. Ooh. This name. Brad, do you know this name?
Oh boy.
Rachel.
Rachel.
She just gave today.
Oh wow. Oh wow.
She gets a Siddur. Rachel,
it's another one from
this,
like just today.
Just today. This was
so guys, you a lot of you don't know this. A lot of people, like our phones were blowing up today with people signing on to donate to the Patreon just today. Now, that may be people who were holding out for this giveaway, and I don't blame anybody for that at all. Your donation is still appreciated, it's still going to go to a good cause, and we are still more than thrilled to hand out these books of knowledge and spiritualism. But there are certain people, there were certain donations that just didn't add up logically.
Yeah, this was one of them. And in fact, there's no tier. Like she literally did not select a tier when she made her donation, so she is tierless. But she gave today, and you, Rachel, again, if you're listening, congratulations! You are now the proud owner of a new Wasserman edition of the Siddur. What's happening? I was only half listening. You didn't give away how much this person gave, did you?
Only to her.
Okay, yeah. So anyway, it was a one-time donation, but hey, congratulations to Rachel. You get a Siddur, and I'm actually happy that she did get something because I feel like she deserves it.
Yes.
But everyone gets an equal chance. All right. So now we get to give away the Chumash. Oh, and by the way, Lake Lewis, thank you very kindly for opting to give that one a second chance, a second give. And may Hashem bless you for your generosity. You gave twice. Because technically it was yours for like a few minutes there. All right. Yeah, got it. Okay, yep, cool. All right, we need another question. Why does the Shemitah year start in September? Oh, okay. Is that a good question?
Okay. That is.
Hold on.
Didn't it happen this past year?
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. We have comments on this.
Yes, we do.
Because honestly, I woke up to this.
Yeah, this started our day.
I woke up to this morning, and yeah, my wife is correct. We don't need to make it too spicy in here for right now. But somebody in Pastor John's video said it correctly. What I don't remember the full quote, but it was to the nature of basically this heretic headhunting is doing more harm than good to the body of Christ.
Yeah.
Right. And I fully agree with that because there are parts of this dispute that I'm privy to that nobody else is, because there are many conversations that have been had between me and Pastor John, and they have, as he points out in his video, they're confidential. They're between me and him. But
so let's answer the question.
When pressed, Buck Rogers is also a heretic by his own standards.
Well, no need to get into that. Let's answer the question. The explanation of the blasphemy of the Holy Spirit. I actually did. Those of you who are Patreons, you actually probably already know the answer to this, because I did an SINTS episode. The latest one that I've done, I actually explain exactly what blasphemy of the Holy Spirit is and why it's distinct from the blasphemy of the other two. Brad, I'm not sure if you've listened to that episode yet, Brad, but did you hear my answer?
Yes.
Okay. So a brief explanation. Context matters. And in this particular context, so blasphemy is just actually the Greek word means slander. Now, the charge of blasphemy in rabbinic contexts and Judaic context is anyone who attempts to try and pronounce the name or disrespects the name by pronouncing it and saying something that would be like improper in the same sentence as the holy name. Now, blasphemy comes with the death penalty if you say the name. Now, if you disrespect a title of God, such as saying Ado and Nai, right? Like Adon I in a sentence in a disrespectful way, it's not a death penalty, but it's lashings, and that would be a charge of blasphemy. So blasphemy is particularly with pronouncing. Go ahead.
With respect to the lashings, just a small detail I want to go over in that, because this is what I love about Judaism, is the amount of mercy that still comes with judgment. Even in judgment, there's mercy in Judaism, and that's this. As I understand what I have read previously about it, is that the lashings were to be dealt by the oldest standing member, the most elderly, right? In other words, the physically weakest man able to deal lashings. Why? It was because that
Mercy.
It's a measure of mercy along with the beating.
Yeah, if there's, what's funny is I was talking to this about the Eruv with the rabbi of my community, and he was like, well, the thing is, if you live outside the Eruv and you have kids, you would be violating Shabbos to carry your kid inside the Eruv. And I was like, there's no way around that. I feel like we could be more lenient with that. And he says, trust me, we're Jews. If we had found a way around this law, we'd have done it by now. And that's a good example. Is it's like, well, we have to stone him or we have to give him lashes. But it doesn't say who has to give him lashes. So let's make the weakest person in the entire assembly do it. Like, yeah, it's mercy is always preferred in Judaism above judgment. Judgment has to be done, justice has to be done, but in a merciful manner. Yeshua said it himself. The standard by which you judge will be judged against yourself. That's a Jewish concept. Yeshua didn't make that up. Okay. A full
Give it
Chumash.
away.
A Torah. A full Torah. This is the mark. We're giving away a mark. All right. We'll do another shiftity shuffle. See if another name might want to pop out. No, I guess I'm gonna have to pull this one. I'm gonna have to force my hand here. I got two names. Let's go. What do we got? This one's hot. Hey, Lake.
Hey,
You need a Chumash?
do you need a Chumash, bro?
Dude, something's wrong with this hat.
No, there's nothing wrong with it. It's perfect.
Like,
It's
Lake Lewis,
everybody who has
do you need a
one.
Chumash?
Everybody who has one and then
they give it
charitably
to
give it
someone,
away.
They get it the next time.
Right.
Yeah.
That's by design, bro.
That's crazy. Lake Lewis, currently you are the winner of the Chumash, a Stone Edition Chumash. Really great.
And it's
really
not a
great.
travel size either.
It's like at this point, why do we even put the name back? We'll just give it to you. Yeah, that cap is straight up biased or something. Like Cap. I'm calling Cap. We'll wait for Lake to respond, but for now, Lake, you are the winner of the Art Scroll Chumash full-size edition. Really good piece of resource. I'm really sad I'm giving this one away because I want it.
Right. Neither of us have that one. So, like,
Hey,
understand
there it
this,
is,
guys.
Lake.
You're getting a book we don't have.
No way. Thank you, guys. All right, so he's accepting it. Let's go.
Yay!
Congratulations, Lake Lewis. This is yours.
Yay! Congrats.
I am super happy for you, actually. I'm glad that because you crazy. You gave something away and you got something back. Baruch Hashem, everything is by design. So if you ever needed proof, there is a God. Just watch this episode again. Okay. This is it. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring you to the grand finale. This is a full 5-volume set of the lessons in Tanya, a wonderful Hasidic resource. Not only are we giving away the lessons in Tanya 5-volume set that I have here, we are also giving a full 5-volume set right here. Not this one. This one's my copy. You get an unboxed, totally unopened, fresh, hot off the press copy of the Shadows of Messiah 6-volume set of the Torah Club from First Fruits of Zion. On top of that, the winner gets a Chumash. They get a Siddur. They get from Sabbath to Sabbath. They get restoration. Everything you've seen tonight, every single book that we've given away, there is one copy of everything we've already given away in the grand prize, plus the lessons in Tanya, plus the 6-volume Torah Club set, Shadows of Messiah. We need a good question for this next one, because this is
you guys,
This
ask
is
the
$1,000
best
worth of
possible
books.
question that you can think of.
Yeah, so let's hear some questions. Let's go, because this is it. This is the grand finale.
This is the bookshelf starter kit.
This is the
right?
bookshelf starter kit.
Yeah, the bookshelf starter kit.
Bookshelf.
Guys, quick story as to how that even became a thing, right? Because you guys know me as the bookshelf guy, right? That was Seamus's idea.
Oh, it was, wasn't it? Yeah.
It was so if you go way early on my TikTok, it's like the second or third one that I ever uploaded to TikTok. I referenced Judaic literature, and then I gestured back to my bookshelf, and I'm like, I've got a little bit of it on my bookshelf, right? Well, so I was showing Seamus how cool it was to be on TikTok and like edit videos professionally and stuff, and how cool I thought I was. I go back and watch those videos now, and they're kind of cringy, like, because I wasn't as developed as I am now. But anyway, Seamus saw that and was like, "Hey, that like you should make that your thing. You should like constantly reference your bookshelf." And so I did, and it became a shtick, and that's how people know me on TikTok now.
Yeah, as the bookshelf, and I'm the hat book guy.
Yep.
And you were the bookshelf guy. That's funny. All right. So there was a quick question. This is not part of the drawing question. This is what I wanted really to know. We've actually answered this a few times, but
we have a whole series on it.
Yeah. So what's the take on Jesus, deity, Messiah, prophet? We would say Messiah, prophet. But we are not Trinitarian on this page.
Yep.
And so we wouldn't say deity. Now, the word made flesh, absolutely. A walking and living Torah, we're not the first to say that. There are actually rabbis who have gone on record who have said that very thing. I think it was actually Rabbi Shmuel Boteach, of all people. He was in a debate with a Christian, and he said, he said something like, Jesus was a walking Torah. And I was like, what a profound statement from a rabbi.
Right.
So, yeah. Anyway, it felt like what's the price of a cup of tea in a Second Temple period? Half a shekel. All right, let's do the giveaway. Joshua's got an interesting question. Yes, it's my island.
Yes. This is a personal joke between us, actually.
That's true.
That's you have no idea how many times it gets referenced as being his island.
There are times I use it in a sentence where it doesn't make sense, where he asks me a question. He's like, "Are you sure you want to do that?" I'm like, "It's my island," you know.
Right.
It's weird. It's weird how that stuff comes out.
Instantly barbecue.
Let's see. Questions. The stone that Jacob laid his head on. Shadow of Messiah. Psalm 19:22. Actually, you know what? I'm not familiar with verse 22. If this is good, we'll count it. If it's good, but keep the questions coming. I don't know that this is good.
Hang on, I got a TLV right here. We got to go to Psalm 119:22.
Yeah. Go ahead and read
Bet,
that.
we'll go there.
My TLV is packed under books, so you fix a broken chimney damper.
So for the person who won this Bible, which I've got. So what yours will look like is exactly like this, except a dark foresty shade of green. Right? Same. So Psalm 119, 22.
As big of a chapter it is, and it's like we only have to go to 22.
Right. Take scorn and contempt away from me, for I have kept your testament. I don't know if that's the correct verse. Maybe I'm reading the wrong one.
119:22. That's what he said.
Yeah, take scorn and contempt away from me, for I have kept your testimonies.
Typo? Or maybe it's Psalm 119 is not one of the ones that deviate from the Christian and Jewish numbering system. I don't think so. You know what? I got an
118:22. There it is.
Oh, 118:22.
Yeah, that's a difference. Okay, the stone the builders rejected has become the capstone.
Okay, I can see.
So,
okay.
Actually, if I'm not mistaken, one of the tractates that I mentioned and I can't remember the specific one. I remember it's in Tractate Sanhedrin. I just can't remember the specific pasuk. But when we did our episode on Mashiach ben Yosef and Mashiach ben David, one of those particular pasuks that's mentioned specifically references this. Yes. The answer to your question is yes.
The leper of the house of study, if you will.
Yes.
The cornerstone that the builders rejected. A shadow. And speaking of shadows of Messiah, we're about to give a Shadows of Messiah set away right now. Let's do the drawing.
Whole Torah set. Let's do it.
Okay. It's gotta be good and shuffled. This is a big deal. Oh, I got names jumping out at me. Not when I'm touching them though. If they jump out like that.
There you go.
Okay, who is the winner? This is a student. A student has won the bookshelf starter kit. A student. Let's go. I'm actually really happy that it's a student. If anyone needs a bookshelf starter kit, it's a student, right? Okay, congratulations. The grand prize goes to Lisa Carnez. Lisa Carnez. She's actually a relatively new giver here as well. And I don't think she's in the chat. Totally fine. We've actually got like 30 people watching right now. Anyway, man, we should have like cut the music and everything and like got really suspenseful and talk with a deep voice. Sure. And the winner is Lisa Carnez. Lisa Carnez.
So you should have pulled out the bullhorn sound effect.
I don't have that. I tried. I really did. Because I thought you said that something in a text to me, and I really tried to get like the beer, you know.
Oh man, I totally forgot about that. I used to do that all the time.
Lisa Carnez, I have your email right here. Congratulations. Whether you're watching or not, you will get an email from us. And you are the grand prize winner of the entire bookshelf starter kit.
Woo!
Holy cow.
That is awesome.
So much stuff is just... I'm actually, you know what? I'm a little happy because it's been taking up room in my office, all these books.
So now you have room for more books.
Like, I can't wait until we give these things away, man. I already don't have bookshelf space, you know?
Ooh, yeah, dude, blow the shofar.
Oh, man, I gotta get it down. It's up there perfectly. Okay, hold on.
Okay, I just realized who you are because of the kilt.
Did you? You didn't catch the face paint? The face paint was not enough?
I don't know. It just was not resonating with me. And I felt like he was trying to stay in character for the beginning, too. And it was throwing me off.
Nope. I'm really... except for the flat cap. And that's why I had the sword. The claymore.
To find his equal, an Irishman is forced to address the Almighty.
Okay, which sound, I guess?
Ooh. It's a good question.
Yeah. I don't know. I'll just do something. I don't blow this thing that often. You know, it's like late at night. My neighbors are gonna hate me.
Oh,
That's good enough.
All right.
professional trombone player, everyone.
I wouldn't say professional. I'm just good at it.
Ah, professional.
You could be.
You know what? I'm not even gonna try and put that up right now. It's too high.
Don't worry about it.
I don't take it down for special occasions. This was one. All right. Lisa Cardenas, you are the proud owner of the full bookshelf starter kit. Yep, we got it. Loudest one. Love that sound. War cry, Braveheart. Ooh, that's right. I got to shout freedom before we go, right?
Yes.
Man. All right, everybody. I think that's it for the night. But we still have the after parties.
The after parties. Yes.
Oh, also, I didn't share my drink, but I'm drinking vodka.
She's drinking kinky.
This is a family-friendly episode, sir.
It is. So, no, this stuff, actually, when you hear the description, you're going to think it sounds good. Because, you know, girly.
Because I like girly drinks. What's that supposed to
A
mean?
naughty fusion of mango, passion fruit, and blood orange.
I hate the way it opens, but I love the
With
description
vodka.
otherwise.
I
do like passion fruit as well.
vodka. I wasn't going to tell you all the brand, but yeah.
Yeah, I noticed that, like, I actually read it. Like, you held it up, and I caught a glimpse, and I was like, is that what I think it is? And then you specifically left out the name, and I was like, good on you, Faith. And then Brad totally ruined the mood.
Well, you know, it kind of ruins that whole stigma about, you know, men only thinking about that, because, like, that's the only way you sell alcohol to women. Whereas, like, men, if you were to call it, like, tree bark, we'd still buy it.
Yeah. Actually, it would sell more if you called it tree bark.
True, you buy 4 roses.
Exactly.
That's flowery. That's catching attention.
It's not sexual. That's the point.
Roses are.
Okay, so that derailed. Let's get back on track. Okay, all right.
I'm not allowed anymore.
You know what? One more question. And here's
One more
why.
question to close out the night.
Here's why. We promised a flat cap giveaway.
Oh, we did, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Who wants the flat cap? See,
Who wants the
Wildwood's
flat cap?
Dreaming loves it. See,
It's so good. Somebody knows.
See, all the women know.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, I gotta ask
everything.
another question then. Who has tried Pink Whitney? Has anyone tried?
See, I don't even know what that is. She told me to pick that up, and I was
No,
like,
I did not.
I don't even know what that is.
He is lying.
Nope. You said it.
Okay. Yeah. So one more question, one more drawing. Yeah, and then we will. This one will be for a free flat cap of your choosing. We didn't order one because everyone's head is a different size.
Or if it's a woman who's not fond of the flat cap look. My wife wears flat caps
That's
and
true.
looks adorable in them.
My
But
wife wears one as well.
if the women's don't want a flat cap, then a head covering.
Of your choice, or yeah, some sort of either one. Somebody gets a head covering at the end of this.
Nice. That would be cool.
Oh, here we have our question. Have you tried blue kinky? All right, let's do a drawing.
No. This one.
An Irishman's favorite limerick. Oh man,
Is this a riddle?
I'm the worst person to ask because I'm.
You're such a bad Irishman.
I'm a typical Irishman. I don't like focus on Irish stuff. You know, I'm just part of it. So I don't really have a favorite. Limerick. I don't even really know many limericks, if any.
Leap year. That's so cool.
I think the one limerick I do know is not appropriate for this episode.
As I came home on a Monday night.
I was thinking there was an old farmer who lived by a rock.
The farmer. I love it.
He sat in the meadow waving his fists. But do you like potatoes, though?
Everyone wants the hat infinitely more than they wanted any of the books.
That's because the hats are cool.
I give you $50 to win the flat cap. Sold.
That's just buying a flat
Yeah, I was
cap.
gonna say you can just buy the flat cap.
Buy one.
Yeah, seriously, why does it gotta be from us?
It's really funny. You, sir, are clearly not a Jew because your haggling skills are subpar.
Yeah, this is not the way to haggle, bro. And the answer to "but do you like potatoes?" though is yes.
Depends on the potato. Blasphemy potatoes are no good.
Well, no, those are technically
Hey, he's
yams.
fine.
Those are technically yams,
It's true.
which yams have their place in the scheme of things.
That's fair. They make good French fries.
Pastor George, the yams.
When you say, oh wait, when you say blasphemy potatoes, aren't you talking about instant mashed potatoes?
No, he's talking about sweet potatoes.
You don't like sweet potatoes?
It's not that I don't like them. It's that they're blasphemy.
No, they are the superior potato.
Take that back.
No.
For those of you wondering, this particular one is a Boston Scally, and actually, when we do the giveaway, if you are a male and you win, you will pick any flat cap from the Boston Scally website, and you will get it. You can pick your size, you can pick your style, and we will send it to you. That way, you can wear the hat you want that fits you, and we don't just give you something random that can fit you. Bite your tongue. Sweet potatoes are delicious. Fight me. Do it. I have a sword. Come at me, bro.
The most fun episode. So clearly we need to imbibe more alcohol when we're doing episodes. They're more fun this way.
More. Just the giveaways are really fun. Oh, and by the way, me and Brad agreed on this. We will be doing a giveaway once per month. Not a big one like this.
Not a big one, but one small book.
One book per month. And if you are an active Patreon member, you are automatically in the drawing. And one per month. And on the last episode of that month, we will announce the winner of that drawing and whatever book that it could. And it'll be any one of the books that we've read and recommended. It could be one of the ones from here. It could be anything on this bookshelf behind me. But we will be picking a book and we will be giving it away. One book per month, one drawing a month. And we will do big ones like this for big holidays. Purim is the best one, though. Because I get to dress up like William Wallace. So it's because Faith is here. She makes the show. Yeah, you're right.
We gotta. So you know what? We gotta decide on our costumes for next year, like now. And here's what I'm.
You be Braveheart. I'll be the Irish guy.
No. I'm gonna let the chat decide, and this is only going to apply to people who have seen the show. But either Ragnar Lothbrok or Jon Snow.
Okay, we need
whatever
a question.
You say is what I will be for this event next year.
We need a question. We still have like
is there
40 names in here.
Is there any other way to eat sweet potatoes? There isn't. That doesn't exist. It's not real.
Well,
nope, not real.
You can eat them baked, but not with anything on them. Sometimes I just eat all of it, like the skin and.
Hey.
All right, so I got one
Snows,
Ragnar, but like everybody else is saying Jon Snow. So
yep, I'm seeing a lot of Johns.
Okay, any ideas for what I should be? Because I have nothing.
So you'll be Khaleesi.
No.
Khaleesi.
Yes.
Not
Nobody
Sansa?
can see your hair right now, but she's like the perfect blonde for it.
Oh, that's true. You're blonde. You're so blonde. Yeah.
You forgot what color my hair was.
You're wearing a head covering. Forgive me.
That's true. I was hiding it.
I'm sorry that you're a proper Jew.
A little bit. Oh yeah. But yeah.
I forget what
I
my
ha-
own hair color is sometimes. Okay.
Ooh, see, somebody else gets the idea because she could be Lagertha also.
Ooh.
See, I would rather be Lagertha than Khaleesi.
Yep. I like Lagertha much better than Khaleesi. Just saying.
Okay. Lagertha. Either you can be Ragnar.
Can you be Floki?
Yeah.
Yo, yes.
I'm Floki.
We're doing it.
We're doing it.
Yes.
Okay, we're not getting a question, so I'm drawing a name for the hat.
Yo, you got your own fan club, yo.
We figured out what we're doing for Purim next year, so I get time.
Oh, dude,
Dr.
Seamus, we could totally do this too. I'll be 10 and you be 11.
Oh yeah.
Where you at?
Dude, remember when your wife first brought that home and we walked through the front door and almost
Isn't
shot it?
Dude, it scared the bejesus out of me, dude. I was
We
not
were,
ready
yeah,
for it.
that scared me. It was
That would scare me all the time.
because the lights were off and it just looked like somebody standing in the middle of your house, and I really almost shot it.
It's a life-size poster of
That
Matt
freaked
Smith.
me out more than once, for sure.
I seriously drew on it.
Yeah, yeah.
But I've kept it ever since because it's super funny. Anyway, yes, I could be Doctor Who. I have the outfit for it, but I kind of want to be Floki. I've never done Floki. I've been Doctor Who like twice, so.
I've done Floki.
Oh, you would be such a good Floki.
I've done Floki, but only in a D&D game.
Oh, she said
True. I
Egret.
remember that.
I could be Egret.
Egret.
I just have to use some temporary hair dye, which actually might
okay.
count.
So
That's
she actually is naturally, well, as a child was a redhead.
Oh, we had a name fall out.
Hey,
It's a
If
scholar.
anyone forgot, this is for the flat cap still. It's been a while.
It's a female, so maybe not a flat cap.
Oh,
Rose Fuller.
Rose Fuller.
Rose.
I feel like-
I think that's
Rose.
country. I think that's Country Rose.
I
Yeah.
know Rose. Congrats, Rose.
Rose, you get a head
I think
covering.
she could rock a flat cap.
So this means that
If
we
you
have
want a flat cap, is Rose here? She's not.
No.
Well, if
But-
Rose doesn't want a flat cap and she wants something that's not super expensive, maybe Nathan Hamilton would like a flat cap.
We can do both.
The funds are there.
They are there. Let's do both. We'll give away for Rose we can do a head covering, and for
I get to pick out the head covering.
no, they can
Does
pick
she
out their own
Oh.
covering.
She gets her head covering. All right, so Nathan Hamilton, you get a flat cap of your choice from the Boston Scally website.
Yeah.
Rose Fuller, you get a head covering of your choice from whatever website, because I don't know the first thing about it. So
Rapunzel. WRAPUNZEL is a good website.
Yes.
the only limit is under $55. That's your only limit. All right.
Cute.
'Cause- Oh man, that's okay. So now it's time for
Thank
some
you.
after parties.
Yep. Now time to close it out.
Yeah.
This
Boy.
has been an awesome episode, and I look forward to making this an annual tradition. I really do.
Oh, you know what? Give me 1 second because I need to do this. This is something we didn't open up with because I forgot because you weren't here. What's happening here?
That's not what you need.
That's what I need. Boom. Okay. A special shout out to some of our top tier Patreons. In fact, if you can see my mouse, boom, there it is. There's a couple of new names up here. These two in particular happened today. What? What?
Oh no, that's actually so.
That is a very weird coincidence.
What happened?
My mother's maiden name was actually Brewer for a long time, and so Faith. This is the first time I guess Faith has noticed this, but there is a Deanna Brewer in the scholars list, and that is not my mother.
That's weird. That's kind of cool. Well, a special shout out to our top tier Patreon supporters, Scholars and Talmudim. You guys, you made this episode happen. It's your immense generosity has enabled us to give away a lot of this stuff for free. Easily $1,000 worth of books and materials are going to people who need them. So thank you guys. You guys are awesome. You make this happen. And may Hashem bless you generously for your donations. Yeah, we got a couple of new names up here. A couple of ones that were added today, this morning, and a couple of them maybe even an hour ago. Let's get the music back up here. Yeah, that list has grown. It really has.
Today especially. Like today was the day for charitable giving, man. Like people just gave today.
Yeah, not everyone gave to the point where they'd make it to the top tier list, but we had a lot of givers. And so absolutely, totally fine with giving away another hat or something, because it's all there. Pay it forward, never pay it back, right?
Absolutely. And just tonight especially, it's in spirit with the holiday to say L'chaim and Chag Samich.
You got him.
I hate you. Dang it.